Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing this morning? Welcome in to the Walk and Talk. Today is October 4th. It is Saturday. Year's 2025, people. We're getting up this morning. Let's do what we normally do. Let's get excited. Let's get motivated. Let's get encouraged. Let's get started with purpose, people. With purpose and intention. Let's take action. Let's make the day-to-day, people. We got to talk. We got to talk today. We got to figure some things out today. Today, real talk, real action, real meaning, real steps. As we always discuss, we have to work with intention. Everything requires discipline. We have to do things with discipline. If we lack discipline, doesn't matter how much knowledge we have, achieving goals becomes less and less likely. We have to show control, oversight, a view of what we do, how we do it, to ensure we're achieving our goals. This morning, we're talking about debt, what they don't tell you about debt, and what you need to know specifically to ensure you're not falling into a debt trap, people. Let's do this morning. Again, welcome in. My name's Oluropo. As always, as you check in, drop in where you're checking in from. Let me know what time of day it is where you are. Love to hear from you. Love to have you participate. Sending my love from Perth, Western Australia. Thank you very much, lover, for dropping in. What time is it there in Western Australia? It is 5:41 in the morning here. Thanks for being here. And we have, is that Loka? Welcome, Loka. Good morning. How are we doing? Let's get up, let's get at it, people. It is 5:41 p.m.? Okay, 12-hour trade-off. That one's easy to remember. Western Australia, Eastern United States. 12-hour time difference. Sitting right on there. Welcome to the Walk and Talk. And we have edits. Morning, brother. Good morning. How you doing? Greeting from Ukraine. Welcome in. Am I out robbing? That's a standard question. You guys need to work on the originality of that. We need to get some more original questions to start the day with. Am I out robbing? Yes, I'm out robbing. I decided in this process what I really needed to do was bring in a larger audience. One, for the possibility of sharing with the world how exactly to rob someone. Two, to increase the likelihood of me being caught and convicted for the crime. Because, well, what's the point of breaking law if everyone doesn't know? Who do we have? Webster. Good day from Melbourne, 7:42 p.m. All right, that's got to be on the east coast of Australia. Good morning. Sanchez, good morning from Texas. God bless you. Jerome says, what you need to do, Unc, was walk and talk. That's what I'm doing, dude. Bruce, good morning, Bruce. How you feeling this morning? Man, yes, indeed. I know where you at. Fort Worth, Texas. West Face is 68. Dude, it's 50 degrees here. It's 50 degrees here right now. Let's get up this morning, people. Let's walk, let's talk. Is this AI? Good question. Fancy son. It is not. Thank you for being here. Man, India, 3:15 p.m. Aaron, can you shout out? There was a pretty good one. Pretty good shot, Johnson. Thank you. Nope, I'm live, people. This is live. I'm real. The key to see if something's real in the future, people, if you're ever worried about something being AI. So they're fixing the flaws with AI, where like the hands twitch and they're fixing stuff like that, right? So you could really see the stuff like that as AI. To know whether or not something is real, look for human flaws. One human flaw, especially if they wear glasses, is see if their glasses are like human. Like I just cleaned these and they still have like smudges and wipes on them. AI has not yet figured out how to have those nuances, right? So they don't know how to make something good but imperfect. So they make it perfect. Like even the things that are supposed to look bad, like people who are supposed to look old, look like a perfect version of an old person. Just some things to share with you guys. But good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Newsman, someone asked if you are AI. You are AI. An awesome individual. Thank you, Newsman. Baba says, Black Lives Matter. Shout it out. All lives matter. But thank you for being here, Baba. Listen, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. If anyone tries to put you into a group, and this is important for you, Baba, this is important for all of you. Anyone who's looking to put you in a group is looking to separate you from someone else. Don't fall into the characterization of being put into a group. It starts early off in life. It starts real early, from the schools you go to the district you grow up in, to the the people you communicate with. All of those things can happen early on. I'm just letting you know it is not it's not a good thing. So walk your walk. Where am I walking? Just walking around. Bruce, they're about to replace us with AI. Many jobs will vanish soon. They'll be perfect AI though. You'll know it when you walk in. AI is too perfect. That is a clue. Exactly. Aaron, 1044 in the UK. Welcome in, Aaron. Queen Peanut Butter. Good morning, Queen. Jillian, good morning as well. Thank you so much for being here, guys. As always, we're on the walk and talk. As I say always, we're going to start with positivity. We're going to start with motivation, connecting, and growth. Thank you for being here. Guys, let me just show you real quick. I'm up at the top of the hill. This is my little view at the top of my little neighborhood. It is not as good as Bruce the Wayne. Bruce has a much better view than mine. Mine is not nearly 20 plus miles. Jabron Lanes. What's going on, Mercer? 1146 in Denmark. Thank you for checking in, Denmark. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for being here this morning. Thank you for participating in the walk and talk. We're getting started this morning. We're out here on the walk. Here's the things, guys. Here's what we're talking about this morning. Thing they're not telling you about debt and why you need to know. So, guys, usually on the walk and talk, I'm all about motivation. I'm all about, hey, look, believe in yourself, understand who you are, drive, understand the importance of discipline, how it impacts your life, how it gives you the opportunity to take control and to be great in your own way, right? To be great in your own life and to push for your cause and the thing that you want to see for yourself. Stop allowing other people to define who you are, what you do, how you should be. We have to take control of our thoughts, our behaviors, and our outcomes. And there's a responsibility that goes with that a lot of people just don't want to take on. This is what we walk and talk about. This is a change, an understanding that I had to make in my own life so that I knew that the results and the outcomes of my life required for me to be invested in me. I could not expect for someone else to care as much about my income or about my outcome if I wasn't prepared to do the investment for the same results. I can't expect someone else to want to see me be great if I only want to make the effort to be good. So this required for us all to look at ourselves, look at what it is we're trying to achieve, and then take responsibility for the actions that we do or do not take to get there. Jerry says, be yourself, have a great day. You do the same. Kai says, can I have $100 to invest in the slot machines? You'd be better off buying a slot machine for $100 and sticking it in a gas station. So, Jillian says, I was lucky to have been able to pay cash for my house. I hate debt. Don't hate debt, Jillian. BTC fixes this. Listen, Don't hate debt. This is the whole point I'm trying to share, right? So one of the things that you have to understand, serial killer, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in, serial. So, so one of the things that you have to understand is this. You will never work hard to become something that you hate, right? And so if you hate debt, right, and you want to turn your wealth into a legacy, and you want to change the future of your family, change the future for yourself, you need to start to understand the difference between consumer debt and debt for growth, right? So most of us have jobs. Most of us have companies that we work for. I have a company I work for, and then I have my life and my family. Most of us have work that we do. And we go to these companies and we exchange the lowest level of income, people. Not that it's a bad thing, but the lowest level of income is exchanging time for money. Because we all believe that time is more valuable. Oh, my time. You can't put a price on time. You can't put a price on how important it is to spend time with the people you love. We say that, and then we put a price on our time. I will give you 8 hours of my day for, I don't know, $35 an hour, $50 an hour, $80 an hour. I will give you 8 hours of every day, 5 days a week. I'll give you 40 hours a week for $80 an hour. Some of us for a lot less. I'll give you those 40 hours a week of my time. I'm not going to count the fact that my commute is 45 minutes both ways. That's another hour and a half. I'm not getting paid for that. The time it takes for me to get from where I want to be to where I need to be for this money, that's an hour and a half. To get there and then to get back. I'm not getting paid. That's another hour and a half. So now we're trading 9.5 hours. Oh, well, we need a 9-hour day because you have to work 8 hours and then you need an hour for your break. So now we're up to, what are we at? 10.5 hours? It's only 24 in a day. You gotta sleep. You have things you wanna check in on. The job will call you and listen, I understand what we're saying about time is important. The reason I'm bringing up the companies we work for and the expectation in us exchanging our time for this dollar is because these companies were built from debt. They're built from debt, right? Let me see. Kate said, do we get alone time? No, not with me. Jonathan says, debt is really just another problem that you need to solve to avoid from happening. I disagree with that. And this is what I'm trying to say. I just really want you guys to take a moment and let's contemplate for a minute. Let's think. Here's what we need to understand. We have been taught to be consumers. Debt isn't the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is we don't know the difference between a consumer and a builder and growth. We think that if we borrow money and we use that money to buy something that we're going to have for a while, it's a smart investment because I can pay it off over time. And so I use credit to buy a television. I use credit to buy a car. I use credit to buy clothes, Christmas gifts, take trips. All of this is done with credit. Here's the thing. We have to pay that back at some point. The amount that we pay back, whatever the interest rate is going to be higher than the cost of the product that we bought. So of course, if we stop and we buy it with cash, now we're changing things. We're changing the aspect of how the purchase takes place. Here's what we need to understand, and this is the difference. The first thing we need to understand is debt is only debt if you are not using it. Once you put it to work for you and it comes back greater than what it costs to use, it's not debt, it's leverage. Leverage is different. The power of the word leverage is what will change your mindset and your approach. Because just a moment ago, young lady, I've forgotten her name, just said, I bought my house with cash, right? She said, I bought my house with cash. Guess what she has? She has a property that's paid off. Stay with me. She paid for her house in cash. Now, all she has are taxes. They're gonna be there, right? Property taxes. You're gonna have maintenance, upkeep, whatever that is, it's a lot less than what it would have cost to borrow the money to have the house. Now, own this house free and clear. If she wanted to go out and tell the bank, hey, I make this much money, I bought the house for cash, but now I'm a little bit further away from my job. I need to get a new car. So I want to borrow against this house to buy a new car for cash, and then I'm going to pay this back over time. The amount I borrowed, I want to pay back over time, right? Well, now she has this debt that's attached to the house. The house is the leverage. But if you change that and you say, hey, I want to borrow against this house to buy another house that I'm going to fix up and rent out, and then what I rent that house for is going to pay the mortgage on that house and make a couple of $100s a month. You don't make a lot of money from renting. This is another thing. You have to do the research. You have to figure out what you're doing. You don't make a lot of money from renting. The money in renting is not in filling up the units. The money in renting is holding on to the asset of the property because the property is leverage. Okay, so this is exciting to me because this is the direction that I'm heading in. This is the direction that my family is building in. This is the direction of understanding that I don't need to just start a business or join a business. I need to live as a business. The reason debt is bad for people is because we don't live as businesses. We live as consumers. We don't create, we consume. If we can understand the principle that the purpose of money is to make more money, the same way the purpose of school is to learn how to learn. You're not going to school to learn a thing. You're going to school to learn how to learn. History, science, math, all of these things are to teach you how to learn things. We think, oh man, man, we come across it somewhere around the 7th or 8th grade. We're like, man, what is this? Like, what am I learning this for? Like, what are you teaching me this for? What is the point of this? We start asking that question. Why am I doing this? Well, you're learning how to learn. For those of us who've gone to college, who've taken college courses, in college, they don't teach you anything. All they do in college is give you problems. They talk to you about how other people dealt with them, and then they say, now you go figure it out. Here's a problem that was a problem for somebody 135 years ago. Here's what they did. What would you do today that would be different? Go figure it out. So you learn how to learn. In college, they challenge you to use what you've learned to grow. And then in the business world, you take what you've learned. In real life, when you go out there, you take what you learn and you use it to earn. Right? So, what does this mean? When we're talking about debt, we have to stop taking it at the face value of debt is a bad thing because we don't understand it, right? We have to start to figure out what actually is going on. Diggy the Ghost said Roth IRA. What about it? What about a Roth? I'm not sure. Merlady said yes. Diggy said nah. If the school taught Roth IRAs, right? If the schools taught Roth IRAs. However, it's really not the Roth IRA. It's the principle of money, right? Like, what is a Roth IRA? We all think debt's bad, right? Do we know what a Roth IRA is? Do you know what a 401k is? Right? Do we understand the purpose of them? What are they actually doing? Right? Let's think about it, right? If you're talking about a Roth IRA, here's what's going on. A 401k and a Roth IRA are designed for you to invest money. They tell you it's an investment. Stay with me. You invest money into a brokerage firm that decides where they think this money can best be used. Mutual funds, they create them, a group of stocks. They are like, oh, we're gonna just put your money in there. It's gonna grow. Eventually, it's gonna be more. You keep investing in it and we'll keep investing it to grow, right? That's the concept. Here's the thing. They have to pay you that money back, but they put restrictions on when you can get that money back and at what rate you can get that money back and whether or not you do or do not have to pay taxes on that, right? So if that's what that is, if you're giving them money that they're investing and they're going to give you that money back at some point in the future, guess what? You just loaned them money. They have a debt that they owe you. And they're making more money off of your money than you are because you don't really understand the concept of debt. You're telling yourself, I'm investing. No, you're not. You're loaning money. You're loaning money to a brokerage firm that has hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other people loaning them money. And then they take these hundreds of billions of dollars and they invest in what they want to see grow. Listen, man, the mindset has to change, the understanding of the reality. We don't have to get into the specifics yet. I don't have to talk to you about the specific mutual funds or the specific brokerages and the investors and and the reason why there are so many different brokerage firms now, the way you can invest, the why it's in your hand, it's in your phone, because you are loaning people money. What do you think a bank account is? Why do you think it has to be federally secured up into a certain amount? Why do you think that is? Because it's basically an entity where they say, hey, give me your money, we're going to invest your money, and we're going to grow things. And it's here for you when you need it, unless you try to get too much of it. In which case, you're going to need to talk to somebody else, and we're going to need a few days. You can deposit a $50,000 check today. That's fine. You can deposit $50,000 in cash today. That's cool. We're going to talk to some people about it. It's going to take you a while to get it back. Hey, that $50,000 I gave you yesterday, can I get that back? See, so the way our bank works is it goes into the savings account first. Try to get your $50,000 back tomorrow. Try to walk into that same bank and get them bills back tomorrow. Listen to me. This whole concept of debt is about whether or not you are a creator or a consumer, right? So let me see. Karan Daniel says, scrolling through, double tap and thumbs up. Cool, take that, Karan, I appreciate it. Merlady says it's actually called a bank account. You call it what you want to call it. They're using it as borrowed money. Because why do you think bank accounts, so they used to charge you to open bank accounts. Because the concept was, if I can charge you, if I can get that money up front, I never have to give you that back, right? They used to charge you for transactions, right? They were like, okay, so every time you do this, it costs you a nickel, it costs you a dime. Don't worry about it. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. We'll come at the end of the year, we'll get everything balanced out. They used to charge for all these things. Then they said, well, no fees, because some bank was like, yo, I don't need to nickel and dime you. I just need to do the right thing with your money. And I'm going to make money. So, hey, no fees. No fees for this account. Doesn't cost you anything. You get your account, you get these funds, you get the ability to use it, and we're not gonna give you we're not gonna give you any fees to go with it. Because they're borrowing your money. We view ourselves as borrowers. We are lenders. What do you think a bond is? When you buy bonds, what do you think you're doing? When you purchase a bond, you are lending money to the country and saying 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're gonna give you some money back. This is why it's important to understand the concept of debt and what you're being told about it is based on where you are and what you want to do. If you want to consume, only pay cash. If all you want to do is like, listen, I don't want to grow anything. I know I'm going to die. I'm not worried about what happens after I die. They're like, sure, live how you want. So die in debt. Doesn't matter. And they're like, what they going to do when you die? And they're like, we're going to go after your kids. I'm dead. Or if you care, here's the thing. If you don't want to leave your children, your future, your legacy in debt when you die, the alternative is to leave them in wealth. Not just, I just don't want to die. I just don't want to leave debt when I die. Okay, I get it. Why not leave wealth? See, there's the whole mentality and the mindset that has been shared with us that is specifically about accepting life as the way it is and what are good and bad morals, good and bad principles. What's good for us isn't good for you, and rich people are innately evil and bad. And if you want to be rich, if you want your family to be rich for generations, if you want to amass great wealth so that your parents can retire early, so that your children don't have to worry about how much college costs, so that your grandchildren don't have to worry about where in the world they want to go to college. If you want to do that, if you want to turn your future into that, you're a bad person. We have to start to think for ourselves. And this debt conversation is just one of these conversations where they've taken these simple concepts, these simple principles, and they flipped it so that we are walking around loaning our money to large financial institutions, and then they're telling us that we shouldn't be taking on things we can't handle. We forget so soon how things happen and the way they happen. The housing collapse. What are we looking at? 2008, 2012, whenever the bubble burst, right? The collapse of the financial institutions. Oh, too big to fail. What do you think made them fall? Right? What do you think is the thing that made them collapse? It was debt. It was money that they owed the American people, and they didn't have it. They couldn't get it back. It were the homes that they loaned to people. And here's the thing, the money didn't even come from the bank. Money for houses doesn't come from banks. Unless you hit up a private lender, money from housing comes from the government. All the banks do are manage the loans. The government says it's good for Americans to be in homes. We are going to provide funds, and we're going to allow you guys to determine how these funds will be lent, who it'll go to, and how it'll be used. And then they bundle them up, they manage them, and then they sell them back and forth between each other so that literally your loan has been paid 5 or 6 or 7 times while you're still paying money into it because you borrowed that money to buy this house. So what starts to happen at this point, now that we have an understanding of where this is working from, what it looks like, they tell us, hey, you guys can't do what we do. So now JP Morgan is too big to fail because JP Morgan owes people too much money. You owe me too much money. I can't let you fail. I can't. Listen, some of you are going to relate to this, some of you aren't. I grew up in a neighborhood and in a community where standing on a corner, exchanging narcotics for currency was a regular occurrence. And sometimes you would get a good customer and you would exchange narcotics for currency with this person, right? And then they'd be like, yo, let me just get some. And they would build up a debt, build up a big one. Like, yo, I'm going to this party. I got some people coming past. Let me get that from you. They owe you $15,000, $20,000, right? In the movies, they're like, yo, I'm going to kill him for that $15,000. No, you're not. He owes you $15,000. If you kill him, you're never getting your $15,000. So what do you have as leverage? This is when they start talking about going after families. Get late on your car loan. Get late on your housing payment. Stop answering their phone calls. Watch your cousins, your aunts, your teacher from middle school. They're going to be like, listen, I don't know why these people are calling me. Do you understand? We don't want what you got. Banks don't want your house. Banks are not in the business of property management. Banks don't want that. Banks want to be able to use this money. This is why you can go through neighborhoods right now. You can go through neighborhoods anywhere in this country and just see houses that people walked away from. They're like, man, I'm not paying it. The bank don't care. The bank's looking at that zip code and they were like, how much is that house worth? How much does he owe on it? We'll get it at some point. We'll get it at some point. This is what I'm talking to you about. They're lying to us about debt. We don't understand how to use debt as leverage. When we do, we change our life from investing to building to growing. But we have to accept the concept that we need to start growing and stop just being alive. We have to understand that when we talk about, you have to look at tomorrow, right? Everyone says, well, what about tomorrow? Well, you need to save up enough money. They have this phenomenal principle of you need to save up enough money so that if something bad happens, you have 3 to 6 months of reserves. So you can use that to maintain until you're able to get back into a good situation. You need that, right? Okay, I built 3 to 6 months of reserves. Now what? Just live your life. You're good. Put money in your 401k. At 59, I think they're moving the age up to 60 something maybe. Once you start taking that money out, use that. Just don't outlive it. Just make sure you die before that money you invested runs out. Because if you don't, you're going to be 85 sweeping floors in freaking Jiffy Lube. This is what happens. And so they tell you, you only need enough to be happy. Just get to a point where you can be good. And this is what they don't share with you. Here are the simple things. I have this. So you have an account in the 401k. You got $1.5 million in the account in the 401k. They tell you that you have to take it out with certain stipulations, certain rules, certain times, certain ways. It's not really your money. It's a loan that you loan to someone else, and they control the parameters in which you're able to use it. That came out your pocket. And then they're taking your money, they're investing it, and they're making more money off your money than you are. Because they have hundreds of billions of dollars that they can invest, and when it goes up a couple of pennies, they make hundreds of millions of dollars. You make a couple of pennies. It is important to realize that growth requires a focus on growth. This is what debt does. Debt allows for you to grow exponentially. What do you think a margin account is? A margin account is debt, but it's called leverage because you already have something in place. Do we even know what a margins account is? Do we know how to use it? Can you imagine the power of it at a higher dollar amount? Gupta says, you never own a house. It is called eminent domain. The government can pay you for it and take it at any time they want. I'm retired military and I'm sitting in a balcony and get down right now watching the ocean. Enjoy that, Gupta. Daniel said the life expectancy of a black man is 70 to 72 years old. Time is money. Don't waste no time, y'all. Gupta said on the balcony viewing the ocean. Got you drinking. I don't even know what that is. Jay says, if you're in a point you never need, it's easy. Most people need help to get there. Then you die and the government takes most of it. Right, that's the concern, right? Cryptoverse said, interest compounded monthly is a way to invest, I think, wealthy and crush the borrower. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm saying okay because I can see their words, but you're gonna have to tighten that up for me a little bit. Here's what I do know. Here's what we've been talking about. We've been talking about how they're lying to you about debt. We've been talking about the parameters and the ideals that they've placed around borrowing, lending money, and paying it back. And these institutions don't live by these same principles. And so then we're taught, hey, hate these institutions. Hate these people who have millions and billions of dollars and their children and their families and their legacies own things, own more than they can ever use. Hate them because they're a poor character. They have poor morals. They don't understand basic human decency. These are the things that they share with us because you will never work hard to become something you hate. Wealth isn't the problem. Money isn't the problem. For all my spiritual brothers and sisters out there, money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. It's to love it, to covet it, to make it your purpose and your reason. The money. We're not talking about the same thing. When someone talks about wealth, when someone talks about peace, growth, nurturing, building, we're not talking about the love of money. We're talking about the resources that are needed in order to make those things happen. It takes commitment, discipline, and a plan to get there. We can't walk around telling ourselves and telling others that we care about where we're going if we're not truly prepared to invest in getting there. Jay Simpson said, hashtag Dave Ramsey. What about Dave Ramsey, Jay? What about him? If it was invested daily, the customer would make more. Tell me, Jay, tell me what it is about Dave Ramsey. What about Dave Ramsey? Cryptoverse says, it means as a lender, you become insanely wealthy while crushing the borrower. You do it by charging interest, by compounding it monthly. It's terrible. That's what you're saying, Cryptoverse? Okay, here's what I'm saying, Cryptoverse. You are the lender. If you have a bank account, if you have a savings account, if you're buying mutual funds, if you have a 401k, if you have a Roth IRA, you are the lender. All of these institutions have promised you a future return. These institutions have promised you a future return. Access your savings account grows at a certain percentage. Why? Because if they get enough money on the books, this is why cryptocurrency has value, because it's not even actual cash. If I can just put enough names on here with enough decimal points and enough commas behind them, I can take this and leverage it. I can leverage the accounts that I have amassed, whether or not that money's still in there. And I do it on a weekly, quarterly, or monthly basis. So if I can show that over one specific month, I had $500,000 invested, and then over the next month, I had $750,000 invested, and then the following month, I had $1 million invested, I can show that I'm growing. I'm growing. How much do you have set up on direct deposit? I have a certain number of people who get the direct deposit, and here's how much it amounts to. And they're like, okay, awesome. You have this money coming in. It's not their money, it's yours. You are the lender. They take your money, they take all of these accounts that they have open with these future funds, this expectation of deposits coming in, and then they go out and amongst themselves, they say, I want to build an office building in Los Angeles. I want to build a stadium in Texas. I want to build a housing project in Missouri. And they take your money and leverage it to say, hey, I'm going to build this thing. This is how much it's going to cost. And this is how much it's going to make. I need you to provide me with the access to the funds. I'm not giving you any of this money that I have from these other people. I already have that invested into government entities or in other ways so that it's growing while it's on deposit with me. I already have that in place. If the freaking government is selling bonds at 5%, the bank will take your money and hold it and sell you a savings account or sell you a bond at 3%, 4%, 4.5%. They don't care, because if they get $50 million of your money, they're going to make money anyway. And they're telling you, don't borrow. Don't get in debt. Don't do that. It's a bad thing. You are the lender. And this whole concept that we have is based on the fact that we've been taught to be consumers versus to be creators. If we live our life as consumers, we will always see ourselves as being on the bottom side of everything. Don't borrow money. Of course, borrow money. Borrow money and grow it. And there it is. If not, they bail them out because they are too big to fail. Here's the thing. A friend of mine is a banker, right? He had one of his clients bought homes, owned, 270 some homes. Client comes to him and says, man, no, he owned 470 some homes and he wanted to get it down to 200. And so he sold 270 some homes. Came back to him 5 years later and said, man, why did you let me sell those houses? He says, dude, I'm not your financial analyst, I'm your banker. My responsibility is to help you do the most with the money that you've asked me to move for you in a certain way. Why does that matter? It matters because by having these funds and selling off these properties, he liquidated leverage. And then he says, I need to get back up to 400 homes. I need to buy more homes. That's growth. This is why the rich understand the more debt I have, the less likely I am to be shut down. If you borrow money from a bank, if you borrow $100,000 from a bank, and you have something that's worth $250,000, and then you say, hey, I can't pay back that $100,000. But this is what I can do. If you give me a loan on the thing that I have for $250,000, I'll take that loan and I'll get something else, and then I'll eventually pay you back $100,000. This is what the rich do. They tell you, you gotta be honest, you gotta be above board. Do you know how many rich file bankruptcy? Do you know how many, and I'm not even talking about as individuals, I'm talking about as businesses, just poor business decisions. That one didn't work, let's move on to the next one. And then they have you standing here, afraid to freaking move because you got one late payment on a $1,500 credit card. Oh my God. They calling you. Oh, you're behind. We have a way to help you. Oh, no, you didn't. And this is the issue. That is consumer debt. That $1,500 went to getting back and forth to work, eating out on lunch, buying something for my girlfriend. That's consumer debt. It's not growth. The purpose of money is to make more money. When you put your money to work and you understand that whenever you get money, you put that money to work and then you live off the money that money makes, it changes things. It changes a lot of things. It should change your insight. It should change your behavior. And see, so anonymous, this is the thing that distracts us, right? This is the thing that distracts us. Jay, you said Jesus warned us about borrowing. Where did Jesus warn us about borrowing? Show me where Jesus warned us about borrowing. Hello, Fabrice. It depends on how the bank was built. In terms of what? Banks are built the same. Banks are built by amassing accounts that are federally secured and then using those funds to invest and build. They borrow your money that you have on deposit for them to grow their money. They actually take your money and lend it to other people with the securities of the federal government so that other people can do other things. And then they take the interest from those loans and they grow. We are the lenders. Fix your brain. Fix your mindset. All of these things that we invest in, that they say we're investing in, we are the lenders. If you truly want to invest, purchase stock directly in a company and never take it out. Purchase stock directly in a company and never take it out. It's very simple. No business that is a good business has ever taken money out of their business. Not a single one. No business that is a good business has ever taken the money out of the business. Joe Mama, you must have got here late. Interest is forbidden by God. Hey guys, that's my wife right there. Look at life. Good morning. Say good morning to my wife, guys. You can see more about my life and our wealth and our way of living at our channel, The Baby Birds. Go to The Baby Birds, guys. Take a look. It's not a made-up concept. It's the principles that we live by. It's the principles that I live by. We have to start to look at ourselves as a business. You are the debtor if you are the consumer. When you understand that putting your money in a bank, your bank is putting your money to work. You're lending them the money. You're lending it to them. They're using your money. You're sitting here talking about, man, I don't know what I should do next. Start a bank, maybe. I don't know. Get stock in your bank, maybe. But you can't keep sitting here thinking. So here's what they convince consumers to do as the public. Put your money in a bank, pay your bills on time, build your credit score, use that credit score to make large purchases, continue to pay your bills over time. Everything is going to be fine. Everything is going to be good. Work this way, and we can get you towards where you want to be in your future, right? So when we start talking about it and looking at it this way, we're trying to convince us that everything is good. You just need to work harder because you're a good person. You have good morals. You have good character. You're in a good standing. You're an asset to your community. Look at these horrible people. Look at these horrible people on these yachts. What do they need a yacht for? Look at these horrible people going on vacations and living all lavish and flashy. That is disgusting. That's a horrible, horrible thing. They do it in your movies. They do it in your TV commercials. They do it in your schools. They do it in your news. They do it everywhere. These people own the networks. They make you hate what they are because you will never work hard to become something you hate. Then they distract you. Look at them. Look at that. Look what they're doing. Look how they're not like you. Talk about that stuff. Talk about politics. Talk about communities. Talk about race. Talk about equality. Talk about poor. Talk about countries. Talk about wars. Focus on that. And then when they need more of your money, what do you think war bonds are? War bonds. That's the country borrowing money from its own population to fund going to war. And we are so patriotic. Yeah, America, I got $100,000 in war bonds. Yeah, we're gonna borrow your money. We're gonna use this borrowed money to go to war. And then eventually at some point, 5, 10, 30 years down the road, we're gonna give you this money back with interest, unless something goes wrong. It's secured up until a point. This is what I'm trying to explain, is that we are so caught up into what people are telling us to divide us that the simple things, and today it's debt. The thing about debt that you don't understand is that it's a catalyst. It's a tool for growth. Stop believing that because you're using money that it's a bad thing. Crypto diversity XP is good, but get some gold and other investments. That's Gupta. King Cash. And who the fuck are you again to give me any kind of advice to anyone? I ain't nobody, King Cash. That's the whole point. Do you listen? That statement is the point. That's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I'm even having this conversation, right? Because I'm here. I'm on this little channel. It's about 80 some people in here. I'm walking around here in Northern Maryland on some unmonetized YouTube channel, and I'm telling you that people are telling you lies. I'm sharing with you that the concept of debt is being used against you and that you're actually the lender. I'm sharing with you that when you look at things through the appropriate lens and in the appropriate context, you can know that the money that you have on deposit with banks, the money that moves from your paycheck directly to a 401k, the money that you invest in your IRA and your employee matches, I'm telling you that all of these things, what's going on, Ryan? Good to see you, brother. I'm telling you that all of these things require for you to look at things differently so you can change things in your life, change things that have an impact in a way you don't want them to. Change the things that you look at and you say, I want to see those things change. I'm sharing this with you. And here you are in the chat yelling at me, talking about who the F am I, in all caps, because I'm sharing. I ain't nobody. That's the point. I'm nobody. But you're here and you're yelling at me instead of looking at what I'm saying. Just look at it. I'm not telling you have to do it. I'm just saying look at it. See, here's the thing. The key to keeping people in a specific position, the key to maintaining where you are, is to make sure that other people aren't fully aware, right? The person with asymmetry will always be the person with the most power. The person who can see everything will always have the most power. So when we refuse to even look at things, When we refuse to even consider things, when we refuse to even have conversations and take on thought about things, then we are being pushed out. We're being marginalized. We're being minimized. I don't need you to think like me. I don't need you to invest in me. I don't need you to be with me. I don't need you to do any of that. I don't care what you do with it. I'm just sharing it with you. I'm just letting you know you are the lender. You are the lender. Whose money do you think you're borrowing? How do you think they're funding a $100,000 credit card? There was a recent post that I saw that says, the world is now $325 trillion in debt. And then it said, to who? Who are we $325 trillion in debt to? How do I owe you if you owe me? How do I owe the bank? How do I owe you $5,000 on a credit card when you are holding $15,000 of my money? How do I owe you if you owe me? How is that possible? See, there you go, King Cash. Life is short. You ain't gonna fix anything. You're not gonna fix anything. I'm gonna fix a lot. I'm making changes because I understand life goes past me. This is why we have to understand these concepts and start to live our lives like a business. Everyone looks at and they accept life is short, life is short, life is short. Life isn't short for the people who come after you. Their life hasn't even started. And what are you leaving them? What are you leaving them? Excuses? Complaints? I couldn't change anything in my life. Come on, man. That's a defeatist attitude. These are the same lines that I'm telling you, dude. It is done as a collective, and we are being led like sheep. Churches can't be taxed, making hundreds of millions of dollars. And we are the lenders. We support all of it. Companies grow and set their future growth based on consumer debt. How much money am I going to make people borrow from me or provide for people to borrow? Listen, I'm not standing here saying I have all the answers. I do have this answer, though. I do have this answer, and I've implemented it in my life. I understand that as much money as you can get, if somebody offers you money, get as much as you can and immediately put it to work for you. Immediately put it to work for you. Don't take the money, man, I got a $100,000 line of credit. Go out here and get this car. I borrowed $300,000 against my house. Go buy another house. What you need to do, and this is the thing that I'm saying, human lives are limited. Good businesses never take money out of their business. All right, Cash. I wish you all the best too. Thank you very much. Good businesses never take money out of their business. Right? Clifton says, could I scam someone into debt and buy the stuff I want afterwards? That's not what I'm saying, Clifton, but yeah, people do that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not offering you a scam. I'm not selling you something. I'm not giving you a pitch. I'm sharing with you a mentality and approach. When you live your life as a business, this is the one thing that I've come to understand and do. When you live your life as a business, you invest into your life. Everything you do is about investing into your life. I don't mean just like live your life as a business as a principle. I mean live your life as a business by creating a business that is your life. Do not buy anything in your name. That makes you a consumer. If you own a business that owns a thing, you are a creator. It's that simple. I need anyone here to look up When was the first LLC created in the United States? Look it up. This is going to be important. I need anybody here to look up and share with me when was the first LLC created in the United States. I think it might surprise you. Look up when the first LLC was created in the United States. Look it up. Somebody share it with me. Somebody, if you could please look it up and share it with me, because I want to make sure I have the right date. I want to make sure I'm looking at the right time frame for when the first LLC was created in the United States. LLCs were created as a way for businesses to be able to separate. Exactly. Thank you very much. As a way for business to be able to separate their business and their business value from their own, from their personal value. So if something was to go wrong in Wyoming, exactly, 1977, by a partnership that was running an oil company. Check this out. 1977 was the creation of the first LLC in the United States. Here you go. I was born in 1972. I'm 5 years older than the oldest LLC in the United States. Why does that matter? Because we have to start to understand the concept and the creation of the LLC was for an individual to protect everything that they built from lawsuits and from failures and mistakes, to protect everything they built. And so it could carry on for generations. So even when they passed away, their business stood. And that business turned every dollar they put into it into more dollars. And then they lived off the dollars that their business made. 1977. Here we are in 2025. I just turned 53 years old back on September the 26th. And we are still thinking that an LLC is for the purposes of businesses to protect themselves from lawsuits. Even though they had this whole thing called piercing the veil, essentially saying if you're a crappy business person, people can still get to your personal stuff. But guess what an LLC really gives you the ability to do? A LLC gives you the ability. It doesn't matter if you're a private contractor. It doesn't matter if you work for a W-2 check. It doesn't matter. A LLC gives you the ability to start a company, put everything in your company's name, and it will carry on for generations. It will stay here. Thank you for the happy birthday. Is this a Wawa? Not yet. I don't get good service near a Wawa. Here's what I'm sharing with you. The concept of what debt is in the hands of a consumer will lead to bad places. The concept of debt in the hands of a creator leads to growth. It's different. Starting an LLC is somewhere around $300. The yearly cost is somewhere around $300. You have some paperwork requirements that literally they have companies out there that'll do all the paperwork for you. This is what I'm trying to share with you. We buy homes. This is what we do in life. They teach us. You get a good job, you buy a home. Your first home is your starter home. You live in your starter home for a few years, value of the home goes up. You sell the home, you buy yourself a bigger home. You take out another loan, you use the money that you got from the first home, you take out a bigger loan because you put a down payment on it and you live in that for a few years. And then when you make more money and it grows and it's worth more, you buy another home, move out of that one into the next one, right? That's consumer. That's called consumer debt. Here's what companies do. They buy a home, they start a business, they put a client in it. Doesn't matter if they're the client or someone else is. The business owns the property, the person rents it. They do this for a few years until it grows in value. They borrow against the home. They buy another home. They move the tenant into there. Maybe this next home that they buy is a little larger, a little better, in a better community, and they move the tenant, who is them, into that home. Now the business owns 2 properties. And the business still has the ability for the people who work at the business to benefit from living in them, right? Now guess what they do again? Here's the next thing the business does. They now own 2 properties. These 2 properties continue to pay them off, continue to go up in value, you borrow against them again. Do a little renovation, move, buy yourself 2 new homes. This is what I'm talking about, is we're taught to go from house to house to house, from car to car to car, right? And to continue to carry that debt everywhere we go. Always have debt. Businesses do not get rid of assets. They don't relinquish assets. And they don't buy things that don't increase in value. Businesses don't buy cars. Why buy a car? If this car is not going to be worth more 5 years from now than it is right now, I'm not buying this car. If it's not going to be worth more 10 years from now than it is right now, I'm not buying this car. This is why these cars sell for $1.6 million, $12 million. I can buy this car for $12 million because it's a work of freaking art and there's only 26 of them. And mine is stamped with a number. And I know years from now, I can sit this thing in a basement and it's going to be worth more then than it is right now. The understanding, the growth part of learning about debt is to move from being a consumer to a creator. You become a creator by starting a business. A LLC is the simplest way for you to change your life from being a consumer to a creator. It gives you the ability within your own existence to simply put your money into your business, have your business invested, and then grow your business. And when you grow your business, you grow your life. Why would you spend 30 years paying off a mortgage for a home where the cost of the loan is greater than the amount of money you borrowed? A $500,000 loan in today's economy is about $1.2 million total payoff over 30 years. And this is after you put 20% down. This is after you walk in there with $100,000. You're only borrowing $400,000, and now you have to pay back 1.2. That means you're now paying $800,000 to borrow $400,000. Why would you do that while in less than that time, if you've amassed $100,000, if you take that same $100,000, start an LLC, and buy your starter home through your LLC by using margins and leverage, which is debt, and you let your business borrow that money and then you pay it back. You let your business own that because you're going to be paying the bill anyway, right? If you buy a home in your own name, you're going to be paying the mortgage anyway. If you let your business purchase it, in your business hands, it's an asset. In your hands, it's a liability. Why would you spend 30 years paying off a $400,000 loan when in a quarter of that time, your business can acquire 3 homes? And then the business can buy for cash 5 to 6 years from now, the home you want, and it's still growing and you don't lose anything. This is what LLCs do for you. This is what it means to live your life as a business. The key is how much of your money comes back to you. So much of our money goes out and never comes back. Why do rich people buy $22 million homes? Why do rich people own 7 homes in 3 states, all over $5 million? They don't. They say they bought it. It's a tax haven. I'm about to make some money. I don't want this money to show up, so I'm invested. I'm buy a house. Business gonna buy the house for cash. Then the business, once they buy it in cash, the business is going to go. They're going to take a loan out from a bank, and then they're going to take that loan to buy other things that build wealth, that generate wealth and revenue. And then we're going to continue to grow. And now you have an individual who owns a company that owns a $36 million piece of property that they never go in. I was about to have $36 million in profit. Couldn't do that. So I spent that $36 million and we acquired this property for future ventures of the company. And then once we acquired that property for cash, went back to the bank and said, hey, I want you to loan me $28 million. And I'm gonna take that $28 million and I'm gonna invest it into something else. And then the company is gonna pay this stuff off over time. And this $28 million I have invested in something that can't lose. I have it invested in a business, in stocks, whatever I have invested in. And so even if the business gets to a point where they say, hey, you're late on this loan for this $22 million home, the business says, hey, I don't have the cash for it. All of our funds are tied up. We can't liquidate them to be able to pay you. Okay, so we need to figure something out. Okay, rewrite the loan. When I took this loan out, the house was worth this much. We paid this much. We did that. Change the date. Move it back another 20 years. Forgive the last 2 years that I didn't pay. Like the things that I'm talking about, and I'm not telling you to go out and be a crappy business person to get your money back. What I'm sharing with you and what I'm telling you right now is that we have to stop living by this belief and this concept that debt is bad. Consumer debt is bad. There's a difference between consuming and creating. And when you live your life as a business you create, it changes things. What's up, gangster? Baby poo-poo. Practice what you preach. What's the name of your company? I want to support you. B&V Finance Fixers. You're supporting already. Like, subscribe, share. I tell you about the legacy that we're building in my home. I tell you about how there's an understanding that what we do is invest back into our life. I tell you about how we're moving all of our currently owned property into the name of the LLC. When we first started the business, the concept that we had was you buy a house, you get an office in the house, and then you rent out some space in the house to your business to offset the cost of the house. And then that becomes a business expense that you can use for tax purposes. Like, oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Here's the thing. It costs more for the house than it does for the business. If the business is the thing making the money, why am I getting money from something that makes more money? What if the business owned the house and then instead of them renting an office, they use that office to manage the property and I rent the rest of the house? Because when the house is in my name, it has no value. It's a liability. But when the house is in the business name and I am the tenant, I own a business that owns an asset. Your house is not an asset in your name. It's a liability. These are the things that they're not telling you about debt. And that when you grow it, the more you grow it, the more you grow your reserves, your building, your income, the more you grow your portfolio, the more debt you amass because you're going to continue to grow. Banks will beg you to take their money. Banks will be like, yo, we get it. Listen, my parents, my dad passed away, my stepfather passed away at the beginning of the year. My mom and my stepdad had a church in North Carolina. They own a number of different properties down there. One of the properties they bought when they were quite young. And it's in North Carolina, and they paid it off. They followed the principles. They were like, listen, pay your mortgage. Pay your bills on time. They did it. Mom retired. Dad got sick. They said, hey, we want to borrow against the house. Bank said, you don't owe anything on it. They were like, yeah, we don't. They were like, yeah, we're not going to give you money for something you don't, like there's no reason for us to loan you any money. We'll buy it back from you. We'll give you a reverse mortgage. The parents were like, no, we own this. We want to leverage it. They're like, no. While the property next door was owned by a company that did the exact same thing, and they loaned the individual who owned that property money for a paid off property for them to grow. Because the concept is that the individual will live and use the thing. The business will grow and build the thing. Here's what I'm sharing with you. When you start to live your life as a business and you understand the objective is to continue to grow, you will continue to grow. This isn't a fallacy. It isn't pie in the sky. You don't have to believe me. Go look it up yourself. Like I just said, the first LLC was created in 1977. I was born in 1972. The way LLCs have been used is changing. You can start a business for the sole purposes of purchasing stock. What do you think a mutual fund is? You can start your own. You don't have to move your money over into some other business's bonds, some other business's account. So they'll hold it and they'll say, we'll invest it and then we'll give some back to you eventually, when you can do it yourself. You can start an LLC for the sole purposes of purchasing securities. You can get a margins account, which essentially says if you have $100,000 in it, we will give you an additional $100,000 to invest. And you will get the returns on the investment. The $100,000 is yours, and everything that the $100,000 that they give you makes is also yours. The concept requires knowledge. Oh, they're crappy people. Who would use somebody else's money? You. Go do it. Start your own. Sell bonds to your family. Hey, listen, look, tell you what you do. I'm selling bonds to the family. I'm giving you a discount. I normally sell these bonds at a rate of about $500 per, right? That's the minimum investment. For my family, I'm gonna drop it down. For $250 in 6 months, I'm gonna give you back a 4% return on your investment. You can invest as much as you want. Just an opportunity for you to take some money you got sitting around and start to grow it. And then you give it back to them in 6 months with the money that they gave you. And then you come back and you say, hey, listen, you see that return? Imagine if you did that with $2,500 in 6 months. I'm going to bring it back to you. This is what mutual funds do. The difference between a mutual fund and the bonds that you're trying to sell is the mutual fund is specifically saying, hey, we're going to do this for you, but you got to wait years. And then you have to pay fees, and then you have to pay penalties. And if you take it out and you cash it out and you use it, then you're going to have to pay taxes, and you're going to have to pay this and pay that. It's going to eat away at your investment. Excuse me. I'm not saying that anybody has to do anything. I'm simply saying that you can do it. We have to stop hating what we will never work hard to become what we hate. And we have to stop hating things we don't fully understand. We have to stop being distracted. If you want to build wealth, if you want to grow, if you want to change your present and you want to change your future, you want to build a legacy that's going to last for years, we have to stop accepting that where we are is where we have to be. Life is short. We're not going to... Listen, start doing the work. The key is discipline. That's all it is discipline. You get started. That's how you learn. You don't know until you start. You won't learn certain lessons until you're doing the thing. You just get started with repetition. You stay patient knowing you're working on something. As you learn, and you become smarter and you become more knowledgeable. You build a plan that you follow with consistency. Final thing, you persevere. You understand that it's going to happen. May not happen today, but it's definitely going to happen. When you build with discipline, you are guaranteed, as you work towards mastery, you're guaranteed to see success. Stop falling into these traps of believing that you can be consistent before you learn how to do it. You cannot be consistent at something you do not have the skill or the knowledge to perform. Children cannot consistently read until they can consistently identify shapes, identify patterns, so that our letters and numbers, which are shapes that we put into patterns to make words, child cannot consistently read until they first start with the repetition of going square, triangle, rectangle, diamond. Red, blue, green, red, blue, green. We have to understand patterns. And then when we learn it, it takes time. But then the child knows, hey, we have numbers and letters, and we put those in orders too. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wow, these shapes mean things. We can put them in order, and they mean whole other things. And now we're learning, now we're growing. It's the same thing. Once you learn how to learn, you have to learn what you need to know to get where you want to go. We have to stop sitting back and let others tell us what we can and cannot do, what we are and are not capable of. If you want to change your finances, get to work. Don't look to me for the answers. I can offer you suggestions. I can show you what I'm doing, but you have to do yours. You have to do your work. You have to get down. You have to say, man, listen, I kind of hear what you're saying, dude. I don't agree with all of it. Here's what I'm going to do. Fine. Fucking listen. I'm sorry. Not trying to curse. Do it. I don't care if you say I'm wrong. I don't care if you say you don't agree. I don't care if you say I'm a liar. I don't care if you say I'm a fake. I don't care about any of that. What I'm saying is, I care about whether or not you have the discipline and the courage to do it for yourself. The framework is simple. It's discipline. It starts with discipline. Discipline in any area. If you're not disciplined in your diet, you're not going to be disciplined in your behaviors. If you're not disciplined in your behaviors, it's going to show up. It's going to turn into complaints and excuses, and it's going to be everybody else's fault. And it doesn't matter, because when someone else tells you that debt is bad because you don't have enough sense, or you don't have enough confidence, or you don't have enough knowledge to challenge it and look at it, then you believe it, and then you take it, you run with it, and you accept what they tell you you have to take. This is how you have to live. This is who you have to be. Growth and development requires for you to focus on your growth and development. So we have Zetam. Please donate. I don't know what you asked me to donate to. Claims said European systemic. Sindano says, in Africa, we own our land, we don't rent. Let your business own your land. I don't know what the framework is in Africa, but if your business owns your land, it's going to last a lot longer. They still can't read hieroglyphics. How much is your rent? Who is that a question for? I'm not even sure y'all guys are talking to me anymore. Here's the thing, guys. Everything that we do that's designed for us to grow and develop and to go further in our lives requires discipline, right? We have to start it with repetition. The reason we started with repetition is because repetition does not have a metrics that needs to be met, right? Repetition does not have any grade to it. Repetition is just, hey, show up and we'll learn. You're learning. That's it. Just keep showing up. Just keep pointing out diamonds, squares, and hearts. Learn the shapes. Learn patterns. Learn to put it together. You went to school to learn how to learn. Use what you learned to build the future you want to see. We started a business, LLC, and we're living our life as a business. So versus us, so Sendeo has said, how are you managing your money? Are you buying shares, investing, etc.? We are buying shares. We started an LLC. Everything in our life is inside the LLC. All the money that comes to our life, either from a W-2 job or from somewhere else, goes directly into our LLC. Our LLC's purpose is to grow funds through the management of our stock portfolio, leverage those funds to acquire properties, and then reinvest those funds back into portfolio to continue to leverage and grow. And then we're setting it up in a trust that will mature, and then as we pass, our life insurance get paid into the trust, which also invest in the future. It's very simple. It's really simple. You just have to be disciplined enough to do it. I want to thank you all you guys, for being here this morning. Again, thank you for stopping in. My name is Oluropo. This is BNV Finance Fixers. I appreciate you guys for being here, for listening, allowing me to share, and for you sharing with me. Today is Saturday. It is October the 4th, years 2025. I am not AI. I have too many imperfections to be AI. I want to thank you guys for joining, allowing me to share, and continuing to share and helping us grow. The channel is not yet monetized. We're on our way there. We're about 2,800 subscribers. Please take the opportunity, like, subscribe, share, stop in, see the content. Primarily, our focus is on making sure that you understand anything that you want to fix. I don't care if it's your finances, your fitness, your faith, or your family, requires the same thing, discipline. You have to do it with intention. That's what we do here. Continue to come back, continue to look. Today, take the opportunity to go out and learn something about debt. Don't take my word. Go look it up. Go figure out how debt works for companies, how debt works for consumers, and how debt can help you to grow. Once again, guys, thanks for being here. As always, you guys keep showing up, keep blowing up, and keep growing up. Until next time, God bless. You guys have a great weekend.